Hey everyone, it's Jill the Wandering Stamper. I hope you're having a fabulous day today. The sun is shining after several days of rain. It's cold outside, but you gotta love that fresh air and sunshine. As you can see behind me, all that mess back there, I've been stamping away today, having a lot of fun with celebration items and mini catalog items and online exclusives. There's just so many great things on my list of cards to make. So today we're going to have some fun making a double easel fold card, and we're going to be using the Everyday Arches bundle. This is an online exclusive. I absolutely love this set. It's so much fun. It's something you're going to use all year round, and the dies that are bundled with it are just the best. You're going to use those dies forever. Very useful. So we're going to make the cutest shaker card using that set, and then I'm going to show you a couple of other cards that I made, completely different vibes, but all with the same fold, because when you know how to do a great fold, you can make so many different kinds of cards with it. So let me take a moment to turn the camera down and we'll get started. I'm so glad you joined me today. Here are the products we're using today. The star of the show, of course, is the Everyday Arches bundle. I love this. This is an online exclusive, so if you love it, make sure you grab it before it disappears, because at some point they will let it go and not restock it. I love the sayings. I love that there's some extra little embellishments, but the sayings are what really make this special. And the beauty of it as it comes, and I've pulled some of the dies because we're using them in my card, and of course I put all my dies on a magnet sheet, but these dies are fabulous because you can use them for so many other stamp sets and so many ways to use them as a card, or create a rainbow, or layer, or make doors, or garden arches. I mean, there's just, it goes on and on and on. So there's a whole bunch of these. I've pulled 3 of them that we're using today. So there's 10 of these arches all stacked together. So you can layer. I mean, they're just so versatile. So we're going to be using that. And then we're going to be using the beautiful Everyday Skies Designer Series paper. I am in love with this paper. You get 4 sheets of 12 different designs. So you get 4 sheets each, and every sheet design has a sky and a background. So you've got all of these beautiful skies and backgrounds. We're going to be using these. I've almost finished using this paper, but we're going to be using this one today. But I mean, look at this paper. It's just gorgeous. Everything has a matching sheet, and you get so much of it. So there are 48 sheets of Designer Series paper in this pack. So it's a nice beefy pack of paper. And I love the skies. The skies are fabulous. And even if you're making a card that you don't necessarily want to use the skies for, you've got some great backgrounds as well. And I like that they gave you daytime skies, nighttime skies, stormy skies, whatever vibe you want is in there. So today, since we're using this is just a scrap, but we're using this paper. So it's got these designs for the clouds. It's kind of a sort of stormy, I don't know, colorful sky, and then this beautiful nighttime sky in the background that has stars. So we're going to pair it with some balmy blue and some night of navy. So I've already done some of the die cutting for you, but I'm going to walk you through how I created this card. So I'm going to start out with my paper trimmer, and we are going to make our base night of navy. So that is going to be 11 by 4 1/4. No surprise there. It's just your standard long card. So we're going to take that 11 by 4 1/4, and we're going to score it at 5 1/2, which is half. Just like that. So that's our base. Simple, simple. And I'm going to grab my bone folder right now and give that a little burnish. And we're going to set that out of the way. And then we're going to use our balmy blue, and that's going to be layered in front to create that double easel. So that piece is going to be 4 inches wide by 10 1/4. So I'm going to cut that at 4. And then I know this is an 8 1/2 by 11 sheet of paper, so I'm just going to chop off 3/4 of an inch because it only needs to be 10 1/4. So I'm going to chop that off. So now I've got my 10 1/4, and then you're going to do some scoring. You're going to score at 2 1/2 inches and 5 inches. Whoa, I almost cut it. Did you see that? All right, and so the way that's getting folded, this is your biggest side. So I'm gonna fold my 2.5 inch and my 5 inch, so you've created this, okay? So again, I'm gonna give it a little burnish with the bone folder because we want all of our creases nice and tight, and I'm gonna set that aside. And now we're gonna cut some designer series paper. So I've got some scrap of this, and if it's not enough, we'll grab another piece. But you want 2 pieces of designer series paper, and I've decided for my base, I'm going to be using these. So we're going to need one that is 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And that is not going to work. So let me grab my other sheet. And I know I thought I kept it out. Did I not keep it out? Let's see. Let's grab it. I thought I kept it out for you. And I'm not seeing it. So let's find it in there. Well, here's another piece. And here's one. All right, we're good to go now. Let's see if... Okay, so we want that designer series paper to be 5 by 3 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the 3 3/4. 5, 5. And this is not directional, so it doesn't really matter which way I cut it. But if it is, if you do choose something directional, just make sure that you're cutting in the right direction. And then we need a second piece that's 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. This should work out. So it's exactly 2 1/4. So then I just have to cut my 3 3/4. So you can get your card done on one sheet. All right, so that is our designer series paper. And then before you came on, I did some, let me move this out of the way. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and cut our inside. So for the inside, we're going to create a layer. Now you could just use basic white, but I like to give it some layers. So I'm gonna do a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of balmy blue for the inside. And then on top of that, I'm going to layer 3 3/4 wide and 5 inches tall. And that's where my sentiment is going to go on the inside. So those will layer together nicely on the inside. Okay, now we're done. So let's get this out of the way. Hopefully I won't have an avalanche. And before you came on, I did the die cutting for you, but I wanted to show you what I did. So using the Everyday Arches dies, I went ahead and grabbed the largest die. Where did I put my stamps? Here they are. So this is the largest. It's not the largest die. It is the, let me tell you what dies I use, because that'll make it easier on you when you make this card. Get those out. So I used the fourth smallest die. So if you have your dies all in size order, it's 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th die. And I cut out, this is Petal Pink, I believe. And I went ahead and cut 2 pieces with this die. Okay, so I have 2 of those. So once you cut that one out, then you go ahead and I stamped Know You Are Loved in Night of Navy because I wanted to pull in my colors that are in my designer series paper. So I stamped that first, and then I took the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th smallest die, and I put it in place. It just fits, and then I put some tape. This is Post-it labeling and cover-up tape. Love this. I use it over and over again. So I tape this in place so it doesn't move, and then run that through my die cutter. And so what you are ending up with, this piece of tape has been used so many times, I think it's time to retire it. But then what you have left is this piece. And then you can just save this inside piece for another card. All right, so that's the 7th one in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 7th one in size. All right, and then I also cut a window sheet and my designer series paper with the skies I cut those out, and you can probably cut these together. I did cut them separately because I didn't think about it, but I'm pretty sure you could cut those all at one time. And I used the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth smallest, fifth from the largest down, my fifth arch, okay? And I cut, again, I cut a window sheet, and I cut my sky pieces, okay? So that's everything. So let me show you how to put this together. But I love these arches, and you can do so many things with these arches. So for this card, what I envisioned is a shaker card. I wanted to make a shaker card, which I thought would be really cool. So once you have all your pieces, let me show you how to do that. Now this piece here is going to be the back. So when you're done with your card, you don't have anything ugly back here. All right, so that's why I did it that way. So what I'm gonna start out by doing is I'm going to go ahead and adhere this clear piece to my petal pink. All right. I have a lot of lint on here, so I'm just going to take some of that lint off. All right. Now, you can do this with glue, but what I like to do is I would either use tear and tape or use your Stampin' Seal Plus, because you want it to be nice and sticky. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it along the edge here. And the reason I want a good seal is I don't want any of those sequins that I'm going to put inside the shaker card to pop out. I want it to be nice and stuck on. I don't want anything peeking through. All right, so once I've got the adhesive, now this border is really not going to show, so I'm not too worried about which side to put it on. I'm more concerned about making sure I just get everything covered up, and it doesn't even matter if it's perfectly straight, okay? So that's on there, so I've got my little window sheet. All right, so now that that's on, what we want to do is we want to be able to create a surface that is going to stick and hold all of our stuff in. The best way to do this, I think, is to use these adhesive strips. I love these. So what I like to do is I just pull one off, and I usually use the dots that are on this die as my guideline, and I just put these right along the edge of these dots, and then use your scissors that are designated sticky. I call them my sticky scissors. Just give it a trim, and just keep going all the way around. And I just follow the arch. And then when my piece of tape runs out, I'm just grabbing another one here. And I'm just going to keep on going. So I am going to make sure that this goes all the way around. And I love that these are flexible. So you just follow the curve. And I'm just putting it right next to the dots. That gives me a nice little guideline of where to go. And then when I get to where it's going to meet up with the other piece, I'm just going to grab those scissors and give it a little cut. And then I'll pop this right back on for another project. So these sticky strips are so easy to work with this kind of project. So now that that's on there, I'm going to go ahead and grab my Take Your Pick tool and pull these off. Now you can do this step after you put your embellishments inside, or you can do it before. I'm just going to go ahead for time's sake and do it now. Now, this is the way I like to do it. All right, so now you want to decide what you want to put inside. This is a shaker card. So I pulled some loose frosted dots that I have because I want to use them, and they have some pink and some yellow that goes really well in here. I'm not going to use any of the peacock ones, but the pink and the yellow are great. So what I like to do, you could use some glue dots. A lot of time I'll just put some little drops of glue here and there because I'm only going to use a few. And the reason I like to do this is because I want a few of my pieces to always be showing, and then the rest to be shaking around. So I'm going to grab that Take Your Pick tool. This is the putty tip. And I'm going to grab some of these embellishments, and I'm just going to pop them down onto the glue. And the beauty of this is if they come off, it doesn't really matter. they'll just shake around, but I find they stay really well. So I'm just popping them on there. And I'm using, again, I'm just using the pinks and the yellows because they match really well with our stormy little sky here. So get that on there. And then I'm going to do one more yellow. And I like that they give you multiple sizes too, so you can just change up the size. So those look good. And let's do one more pink over here. I have a couple more dots. I never know where I'm going to put my glue, so I just kind of stick some dots on there and go with it. So let's turn this over. There we go. Put that on there. So that kind of gives you some random glitter, sort of. So that looks good. Now I'm going to close up these. And then I wanted something to fill it with to shake. So I have these loose silver sequins. So I love this card because you can use up some of your stuff that you've been, wanting to kind of get rid of in your stamp room or whatever. So you can use whatever color. I decided to use some of these because they just kind of sparkle a little bit. So I just pop a few in there. You can use however much you want. All right, so now once that's on there, we've taken all of our strips off. So now I'm just gonna layer this on here. I'm gonna try to get it straight, but it doesn't matter as long as it looks good from the front. Just put it in place and press it down. Look at that. So you've got your shaker, super easy. So now I'm gonna flip it over, and I could put it on my card like this, but that's not very pretty. So what I like to do is just put this piece over the back. I just think it looks nice and finished that way. Like I said, it's not a necessity, but I like to give it that little extra touch. So all I have to do here is pop this on, and then I just kind of stack it with my hands, make sure all the edges are the same. So now you have a nice finished piece. From the front, it looks really good. From the back, it looks really good. And look, you've got the shaker. And the little bit of undried glue that's around my beads actually catches those little silver pieces. So it's kind of nice because it keeps they don't all fall to the bottom. So you're always going to have some up here. So I like it that way. All right, so that's done. We're going to set that aside. I'm going to keep these open because we're going to embellish our card with a few of those. But let's go ahead and get the rest of the card done. So for the front, I'm going to take that balmy blue piece, and we're just going to simply put some glue on the back. I'm using the Stampin' Up liquid glue, but I have it in my mini glue press that I got from my Sweet Petunia. I love their glue press. I never used liquid glue until somebody told me about it, and now it's the only thing I use. I hardly ever use my other adhesives. I enjoy it. All right, so now we have those other pieces of Designer Series paper, and they are going to get layered just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do the inside one first. Look at this paper. Is that not gorgeous? I mean, you could totally even do it. You know what? We might even do it that way. I might do this one differently. Look how pretty that is. Let's do it that way. I can change my mind, right? Why not? So I'll have two different kinds of cards. I'll show you my other card that I used, that I made before this video as my sort of trial run. And I used the same background on both pieces, but I kind of like this. All right, so I like to put the big one on first, because then when I put the little one on, I can make sure all the edges are the same. That just works really well for me. So let's just put some glue, just like that. And now I'm going to layer that on the front. I find so as you can see, I find when I do this smaller piece next, I can make sure all my edges are the same. I like that. All right, so now we're going to center this just about right here. So I just kind of put my fingernail where I want to make sure I don't get my glue past. Because you don't want to put glue above where it's going to go onto the other layer, or else you're going to glue your pieces together, and that would not be good. All right. Now I'm going to just layer that on and make sure it's straight. That's the beauty of liquid glue, is you can adjust. There you go. So there's the front. Look how pretty that is. I love that. All right, so let's do the inside real quick and then we'll embellish. So we have this layer, and what I'd like to do, why do I keep forgetting where I put my stamp set today? Is that not the craziest thing? I'm going to grab this So Very Much because our front says Know You Are Loved. And so inside it'll say So Very Much. I really like that. So let me grab that stamp. And my little, whoop, that's not big enough. Grab this one. And then I'm going to grab Night of Navy because we want to keep using the colors that match. Let's make sure my stamp is not upside down. That would not be good. All right, so that's inked up. I'm going to stand up so I hopefully do this right. Okay. That is a little bit crooked, even though I stood. So let's turn it over. I love that paper has two sides. Okay, that one looks better. Get my little chamois. I've been using my chamois lately too. I didn't used to use it, and I get tired of spraying the Stampin' Mist on my little pad and it drying up. So I've started using the chamois, and I'm kind of enjoying it. All right, so we've got that. So now we just want to, let me make sure I have nothing on my fingers. We're going to go ahead and adhere this to our balmy blue layer. Now, since I flipped my paper over, I have some little ridges from where I cut. So if you just run your bone folder over that, it flattens it out. I know nobody notices that, but I know it's there. It's just one of those things that I notice, and it bugs me. So I have to do something about it. All right, so there is some glue. And now we're just going to layer this inside. See how adding that extra layer behind it really helps it pop, and it brings the colors from the front of the card into the back of the card. And I've left it very simple, but I love the font. It's so pretty. So now that we have that on there, let's just add a few more embellishments. So I'm going to add some more of these loose silver sequins. And I think I'm just going to use glue dots for these because I just want them to be stuck and not have to worry about them drying. So I'm using my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm just gonna pop them right onto the glue dot. They fit. And then I'm just gonna put a few on here. And they just bring a little sparkle to the back layer. And since they're clear, where do I even wanna put these? Maybe I'll put another one right here. A lot of time I try not to think about where I'm putting these. I just kind of pop one on and then go from there because I'll sit there and think about it for a few minutes. Like, shouldn't be that big of a deal, right? Let's put one right here, okay? And that just brings that out to the rest of the card. So let's put a lid on that so we don't make a mess. And then I've taken a bow and just made it. And this is the white iridescent ribbon. I don't even know if this is available anymore, but I wanted to use it. So look at your ribbon and just use up some of the supplies you've had laying around. This card is very versatile for that kind of thing, which I love because you want to get rid of your old and use it up so that you have room for your new, right? I know as an RVer, I have to get rid of my old and make room for new, or I'll run out of space. So I'm going to put this bow somewhere right around here in the corner. So I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of glue dots. That's just the easiest way. And these glue dots work so well. So I'm going to use 2, and then I'm going to pop it right here in the corner and let it hang out right there. So that's it. That's the card. It's super simple, but I love how it sits up on the counter, just like that. And look at this. I've got a little glob of glue, so I'm going to use my glue eraser and get rid of that. There we go. So I love that it sits so nicely. And then I love that you can see those. I kind of like the way you can see the clouds behind it too. So it's like you're looking out a window at the sky, and then there's outside the window. So that looks really cool. It came out way better than expected. Here is my sample my inspiration sample. I used a little less of the sequence, and I used the sky for the back layer. So both of these look really good. Which one's your favorite? I'm curious to know. So there's the first 2. Let me show you the other cards I made. So I was working on, I have actually a couple samples. I was working on Valentine cards for my granddaughter and my grandson, which was my inspiration for this fold. So this is using the Darling Dinos stamp set. I believe this is a mini catalog product. I love it, and I'm using the in colors. This is Pretty in Pink and Summer Splash. Love this paper. It's so pretty. And I just used my Stampin' Blends and colored this little guy in to match. And it says Roar means I love you in dinosaur. And I used the Happy Valentine's Day that happens to be in the Hearts of Elegance stamp set. And just kept it simple. But I'm going to mail this to my granddaughter with some Valentine treats. She lives in Colorado, so we won't be there till spring, so I'll have to mail that one. And then this one's for my grandson, who is obsessed with dinosaurs. He's only 5, and he can name off the craziest named dinosaurs and knows everything about them, whether they're carnivores or omnivores or herbivores or omnivores or whatever. He just loves dinosaurs. So I made this one for him. And it says "You're T-rific," and I got done and I realized he's going to call me out on this because this isn't a T-Rex. I didn't use the T-Rex on the front. So I'm curious if he's going to go, Mimi, that's not a T-Rex, but it's okay. He'll love it anyways, and he'll be getting some little treats. And then this last sample, I love the Ocean Friends stamp set. So this last sample came from that. I used the whole suite of products. So I embossed Hello Friend in white embossing powder and stamped in Melon Mambo. I used Lemon Lime Twist, and then I used Lemon Lime Twist and Summer Splash paper. I actually used my last piece. I've got to order some more. And then I used the Stylish Shapes dies to create this shape right here. And then I embossed it with, I love this embossing folder. I embossed it with the Soft Waves 3D embossing folder. So I still gave it that underwater look, even though it's a shape. So that worked out really well. I was very happy with how that came out. I haven't even embellished it yet, but it's super cute. And it says, "Hello Friend." And then inside I stamped some coral, and then I fussy cut a crab and just put him in the corner, kind of popping into the coral. And let me tell you a trick. So I stamped "Love You" up here, and the L came out kind of funky. So I just cut a strip of paper and popped it over there and stamped again and fixed it. So use your paper scraps to fix your boo-boos. Nobody's ever going to know. So there you go. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. I had so much fun with this fold. I'm probably going to work on some more, but I wanted to share it with you. It's super simple. Don't forget, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on these great folds. And also click on the link below, which will take you to my blog. And on my blog, I have all of my cutting and scoring measurements there for you. So when you create this card, you don't have to go back to the video and find all the measurements. They are in my blog, as well as a list of all of the products that I use to make each one of these samples. I hope you enjoyed this fun fold today, this Double Easel Fun Fold is so versatile. I hope you get a chance to try it, and I will see you Wednesday with another video. Have a great rest of the week and a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.